Hey guys, welcome back to Rationable. So I got this forward on WhatsApp like a while back about how Japan was getting rid of all their microwave ovens because they found that it destroys nutrients in the food, amongst other weird and wacky claims. So I decided to check out which claims were fact and which were false. And this article has actually surprisingly become the most popular article on my website. So still, I thought, why not make it into a video for you guys? Now, there are a lot of claims, so I can't go super in depth, but I have linked whatever references I found in the article on my website, so you can dig deeper on your own. The link is in the description. Now, let's break it down. Now, the whole thing about microwaves causing cancer and, really being bad for the quality of the food that you put in it is not just something that Japan has been rumored to promote, but it is something that has been going around in India and the rest of the world as well. And it is one of the most pervasive bits of misinformation and pseudoscience that has been spreading across the world. And this is really, I mean, it's and it goes way back. It goes back to when microwaves were first invented. So it's really nothing new, but there are lots of misconceptions about microwaves, what kind of stuff you should put into it, what kind of food you should put into it, and what kind of vessels you should put into it. Should you put plastic into it, glass, metal, all of these things, right? These bits of misinformation are so widespread that I think it's really important that we really break down each one of these claims, because this forward that I got on WhatsApp is probably one of the most pervasive, and is it probably covers like most of the claims surrounding microwaves that we are probably thinking about. So without any further ado, let's break down each one of these claims. By the way, I've gotten rid of some of the ones that are, less relevant. But let's break each one of these down and see how much science they might have in them. Does it science, in other words? So here we go. The Japanese government decided to dispose of all microwaves oven in the country before the end of this year. All citizens and organizations that do not fulfill the requirement is threatened with prison sentences ranging from 5 to 15 years, depending on the severity of the crime. Now, this is all quoted from the forward. Moving on, the reason for the ban on microwaves in the land of the rising sun was research done by scientists from the University of Hiroshima, how appropriate, who found out that the radioactive waves caused more harm to the health of the citizens over the 20 years of use of the microwave oven than the nuclear bombing of the American aircraft, by American aircraft in September of 1945. According to the findings of experts, according to this forward, food heated in a microwave oven has unfavorable vibrations in disharmony with the universal rhythms, whatever that means. All the largest manufacturers of microwave ovens in Japan have already closed factory workshops where products were manufactured. In 2021, the termination of the product of microwave ovens will be announced in South Korea. China plans to abandon this type of technology in 2023. Now, all of this is absolute rubbish. This article, which this has been taken from, was first published on a Russian satire website, panorama.pub. It is satire. Satire. This whole thing is a joke that went viral and is now being shared as facts. Snopes was the first link I saw when I searched for this. By the way, Snopes.com is an excellent resource for finding facts about hoaxes, scams, weird forwards, and a lot more internet nonsense. You got to check that website out. This in itself should give you a clue about how reliable the rest of the information in this message is. But if we are to be good little critical thinkers, we must read the whole thing and investigate each claim separately. Now let's break down each claim for this side of the foods we should say no to, which could cause cancer. Refined oil. Well, overeating refined oil is bad for everyone, but it's not inherently wrong in reasonable quantities. Refining is needed to get rid of some of the natural toxins that are already in the plant and also to improve their shelf life. So if we overdo them, like consuming too much saturated fat like ghee or coconut oil in your diet without adequate exercise, you will increase your risk of heart disease along with a bunch of other problems. So keep your fats within 30% of your total caloric intake, and 20% of that should be saturated fats. So there's nothing wrong with refined oils. The next claim is milk of animal origin, not homemade. What does this even mean? We shouldn't consume milk from any animals? What does it mean by not homemade? Do they say we should only drink milk from the cows or other animals you can milk? That you might have at home? I don't know. Either way, there's no evidence to say that dairy is bad for anyone, except for those people who have lactose intolerance or an allergy of some sort towards milk. Now, this study that I looked at concluded that the totality of available scientific evidence says that the intake of milk and dairy products contribute to meeting nutrient recommendations and may protect against most prevalent chronic diseases and deficiency, whereas very few adverse effects have been reported. The next claim that this WhatsApp forward puts in is food cubes or seasoning broth. I can't find any evidence showing that these are bad for your health, but usually they're high in salt, so take it easy if you have blood pressure problems. The next claim is soda, and I mean that with, like regular soft drinks, not club soda, as a lot of Indians, might get confused. Anyway, of course, drinking a lot of soft drinks with sugar in them isn't good for you. That's a lot of calories from carbs that you probably don't need and that hold no other nutritional value. The dosage makes the poison though, so take it easy. Overdoing soft drinks has been associated with weight gain, look at me, heart disease, and tooth decay. Just to be clear, regular club soda doesn't have any adverse effects at all. And here's another interesting article that you need to check out. I'll put a link for all of these in the description. The next claim, refined sugar. Now, too much of anything is bad for you. As I said before, even drinking too much water can kill you, and it has been known to happen. I'm not kidding. So when it comes to sugar, which is otherwise known as a simple carbohydrate, it holds true. So eat a little bit of sugar and count it under your carbs. You'll be fine if you're counting your calories. Stuffing your face with Cadbury's chocolate and cola all day long and it'll mess you up. Eating a little bit of sugar and you count it in your calories if you're counting calories as a carb and you'll be fine. But if you're stuffing your face with Cadbury's chocolate and cola all day long, it will mess you up. But you don't have to avoid it completely. We all need some of that from time to time. You don't have to avoid it completely. I mean, we all need this kind of loving from time to time. But since it's so easy to overconsume, you should be careful. The next claim in this WhatsApp forward, do not do a mammogram before birth except for an echogram. Apparently, ultrasound is implied here. There's no harm in getting mammograms before you give birth. However, that's different from getting a mammogram if you're already pregnant. Then ask your doctor if it's safe for you. From what I've found, an ultrasound carries a higher risk of false positives, which means a result that says a patient has cancer when they actually don't. Mammograms are more reliable. So if you're not pregnant and not breastfeeding, lactating can make cancer harder to detect. Go ahead and get a mammogram. But I'm not your doctor, so please check with your doctor first. The next claim, too tight underwear. Bra! There's also absolutely no evidence that wearing bras, even tight ones, has any risk of giving you breast cancer. However, I did find some articles that wearing bras can be a bit detrimental to the shape of breasts, but that's a different story. My only question is, why would anyone want to wear tight bras anyway? Just get looser ones. If you are, why are you putting yourself through all of that discomfort at all? I may be a man, but I do wear underwear. I like it to be comfortable. I can only imagine women would too. Now, while you're looking into this, I came across another article about bras that you may find interesting. Check it out in the article that I have linked in the description below. Next claim, no alcohol. Now, this is true. Even alcoholics know that booze is bad for you, maybe more than the rest of us. But yes, alcohol is bad for you in large quantities. Even small quantities once in a while won't do you much harm, but the more you drink, the worse it gets. The dosage makes the poison, as I keep saying. Drinking too much can cause you to gain weight, damage your liver and stomach and your heart, and it has been linked to a huge number of diseases that can affect almost every one of your organs. Now, while we're on this topic, I want to remind you not to believe the hype when it comes to booze in the news. Wine may be good for your heart, but it's terrible for everything else, and it's not the same as going for a jog. I'm not saying you shouldn't drink at all. Just try to minimize your drinking, okay? your heart, brain, cardiovascular system, liver, stomach, and pretty much every other part of your body will thank you for it. Now, a little addendum to that. I have recently watched this amazing interview with Dr. Abby Phillips, which was done on the Ranveer Show on the Beer Biceps YouTube channel. So please go and check that out because he goes into detail about alcohol consumption. And he does say that any amount of alcohol, even the smallest amount of alcohol, can be exceedingly bad for you. And there is no minimum dosage of alcohol that's good for you or that is harmless. Any amount of alcohol is bad for you. So if you do drink from time to time, I'm no one to tell you not to. I'm just saying that understand the facts, minimize alcohol as much as you possibly can, and just make sure that you get a good health checkup every now and then. I'm not saying nobody should drink. Personally, I'm not telling you not to drink. I myself have a drink once in a while, maybe one drink in a month. I had two last night because that was my birthday. But on the whole, avoid alcohol as much as possible. I know sometimes it tastes good. Just keep it down to a bare minimum. All right, moving on to the next one. Thawed food. Now, this depends. Freezing food doesn't harm it in any way and doesn't reduce its nutritional value. However, thawing out foods can be detrimental if done wrong. I found some excellent resources to figure out how to thaw food and if you should refreeze it or throw it out. Meat in particular should be cooked as soon as it melts or while it's still frozen. Do not refreeze meat. Frozen food by itself is perfectly fine to eat. Frozen produce may even have more nutrition than the things that you get from the market. Now, if they've been frozen soon after harvesting, it can preserve a lot of the vitamins and minerals that could be lost due to heat and other factors during transport. So don't worry about that at all. Next claim, do not drink water from the refrigerator in plastic bottles. This is probably false. There's been a lot of controversy over the leaching of chemicals like BPA from plastic into whatever's in it. It has been claimed that BPA can cause cancer, which it doesn't. Also, there seems to be a hoax mail going around that plastic water bottles can leach dioxins into drinking water when frozen. Again, there's no evidence for any of this. Next claim, contraceptive pills. Women change hormonal system and provoke cancer. Oh my God! This is absolutely false. Contraceptive pills have been around for over 50 years and used by millions of women safely and effectively. It's often even prescribed for conditions like PCOD and PCOS to balance out hormones that are a little out of whack. There are well-documented side effects and pros and cons, and they certainly don't cause cancer. This claim is totally bogus. However, if you want to take contraceptive pills, speak to your OBGYN so that they can recommend the right ones for you. Talk to your doctor. I am not a doctor. The next claim, deodorants, especially used after shaving, are dangerous. This is also absolute nonsense. There is absolutely no evidence to connect deodorants or antiperspirants to cancer of any sort. Keep using whatever you're comfortable with, and for goodness sake, shower once in a while. I have to keep telling myself that. Next claim, sugar in any form. Cancer cells mainly feed on sugar. Cancer patients excluding sugar from their diet see that the disease is gone and can live for a long time. Sugar equal to mortal enemy! It depends. Sugar is a carbohydrate, just like rice, like we talked about earlier. There's nothing wrong with it except for how easy it is to overconsume. So it's okay in soft drinks. It's in so many soft drinks, foods, sweets, and juices. They don't usually satiate you, but add a lot of unnecessary and empty calories to your diet. Overconsumption of sugar is associated with a risk of contracting several diseases, including some forms of cancer. It's also true that some types of cancer consume glucose for energy and that ketogenic diets can slow down its growth. However, this understanding is still very, very nascent. So be aware, keep the sugar consumption under control, and live an otherwise active and healthy life. Now, the next claim is that a glass of beer is processed in the body for 5 hours, at which time organs and systems operate at idle speeds. Nope, I have no idea what this claim is, but BBC has a fantastic article about what booze does to your body, which you should totally read. Again, it is in the article on my website. Go check it out. Next claim, we come to the foods which we should have and we should say yes to. So first is vegetables. Absolutely true. I think we all know this. No arguments from me here. All right. Next claim, honey in moderation instead of sugar. This is also kind of true. Honey is basically bee vomit. You want to put that in your tea? This is kind of true. Honey is basically bee vomit. You want to put that in your tea? That is, it is used. It's used by the bees at times when food is scarce. So, but don't let that put you off. It's pretty good for you on the whole. It has lower fructose than table sugar. It also has a bunch of vitamins and minerals which make it more nutritious, but only a little bit. It's even sweeter than sugar, so you'll need less of it, but it's also higher in calories, so be careful. Also, don't feed it to kids below the age of 1 as they may have botulinum bacteria in there. All that said, you have to be as careful with this as with sugar because at the end of the day, it is a sugar and it will lead to the same problems if you overeat it. Next claim, vegetable proteins, beans instead of meat. Now this depends. If you're a vegetarian and want to consume vegetarian forms of protein, go right ahead. It'll be adequate for most people. If you're working out though and need more protein, you'll have to eat a lot of vegetarian sources to get it. Meat and dairy are complete sources of protein, which means you'll have to eat a lot less of them to get the full range of proteins in the right quantities. It's not as bad for you as some would say, but of course, this also depends on the dosage. But the choice is yours. If you don't want to go for meat, go for beans, lentils, dairy, and sprouts. They're all perfectly valid and healthy sources of protein. The next claim, 2 glasses of water on an empty stomach before brushing your teeth. Room temperature water has the same temperature as your body upon awakening. That is not really true. Room temperature water, what you feel outside your body is as room temperature is not what the insides of your body is, what the temperature is inside your body. But this depends. Drinking water as soon as you wake up can be a good thing. It can help your morning motions, rehydration, reducing acidity, and so on. But this whole thing about the water needing to be at room temperature or your body temperature is kind of implausible. First of all, the temperature of the room, as I said, is not usually the same as your body, so the water temperature can't be both. If your room is 39 degrees Celsius, something tells me you're going to be feeling pretty damn hot, even 36 degrees. If your room is at 25 degrees Celsius, which is comfortable for most people, there's no way your body could get down to that temperature. Hypothermia sets in when your body goes below 35 degrees Celsius. The only time you could be at that temperature is when you'd be dead. So that doesn't really make sense. Unless you're in the height of summer in the plains of India or a similar tropical country and you don't cool your house in any other way. Just saying. Anyway, warm food is the next claim. Not hot. This is what you should have to keep cancer away. This got absolutely no sense to it. Again, I couldn't find anything to explain why this statement, if you can call it that, was made. Next claim, number 1 anti-cancer juice, aloe vera, ginger, plus parsley, plus celery, plus bromelain, which is the middle of the pineapple. Mix and drink on an empty stomach. Anti-cancer juice number 2, soursop. I don't know what that is. Guanabana. Seedless, I don't know, bromelain, middle of an apple. Now this part of the message made absolutely no sense to me, but this depends. Eating fruit and vegetables is good for you and they can reduce your chances of getting certain types of cancer, but there's no such thing as an anti-cancer juice. If you want to turn your veggies into juices, go right ahead. It's fine. Just make sure you control the carbs that you're consuming so that you don't overdo them. Make sure you get your fiber. And as far as these recipes are concerned, I'm sure they could help if included in your everyday diet. But it's advised to go for more green leafy vegetables, something I have a problem with. But the bottom line is there are a large variety of fruits and veggies that can help prevent certain types of cancer. The key word is prevent. They will not cure you. The next claim, eat raw or boiled carrots or squeeze the juice every day. It's true. Carrots are great for you. As I said in the previous one, fruits and vegetables of all sorts are great for your health and you should eat a large variety of them. Carrots contain beta carotene, which is metabolized into vitamin A in the body, so go for it. Just don't forget the rest of your food and don't overconsume it or you'll turn orange. I'm not even kidding. The next claim is that the Association of American Doctors, found answers to the cause of cancer. There's no such thing as an Association of American Doctors. There is A non-profit organization called the Association of American Physicians, though, considering the accuracy of the rest of this forward, I'm going to assume that these are not the same organization and that they just made it up. Next claim, 1. Do not drink tea from plastic cups. 2. Do not drink anything hot from a paper or a plastic bag, for example, fried potatoes. 3. Do not microwave foods in plastic dishes. We remind, when plastic is exposed to heat, chemical compounds are released that can cause 52 types of cancer. That's what they're claiming. But this depends. If taken together, it basically says that plastic and heat should, basically don't go well together. And if the plastic gets heated, the chemicals released can cause cancer. The findings summarize that you shouldn't put plastic that wasn't meant to be heated in the microwave. If you put something like cling film or some cellophane wrap, it could melt from the heat and leach some chemicals into the food. That's true. But plastic teacups and microwavable dishes, perfectly fine. There's a little bit of chemical release, but it's in such small quantities that it won't harm you in any way. It hasn't been linked to any cancers either. So all these seem to be linked to a hoax mail that's been going around over the last decade. It's all exaggerated or false. Next claim, avoid drinking Coca-Cola on pineapple or eating pineapple as dessert. Do not mix pineapple juice with Coca-Cola. This mixture is deadly. People die from this and they mistakenly believe that they were poisoned. They were victims of their ignorance of this fatal cocktail. Oh my God, Coke and pineapple juice is killing people. Absolute nonsense. There are real cocktails that are made with Coke and pineapple, and I'm sure there are lots of people who have had that combination. There's another hoax that says consuming mangoes and Coke together can kill you. I'm sure there are a ton of people, especially in India, who have happily survived that combination. I'm sure I have. Don't believe everything you see on the internet, people. This one is totally cuckoo bananas. Can you have bananas with Coke? Next one, answer calls by holding the phone to your left ear, not your right ear. This is another huge hoax. It's a forward that's been busted many times over. There's no correlation between cancer and mobile phones, and it doesn't matter which ear you hold your phone to. It's just plain nonsense. I did find something interesting while looking this up, though. Your brain determines which ear you hold your phone to. Pretty interesting stuff. I didn't know that. Next claim, do not drink medicines with cold water. This is again absolutely false. I couldn't find any evidence behind this. Whatever the temperature of the water, your body will warm it up to body temperature pretty quickly. Swallow your medicines with whatever temperature of water you want. Next claim, do not eat heavy food after 5 p.m. Do not eat heavy food after 5 p.m. You can eat whatever you want, whenever you want. There is no evidence connecting the time you feed to your health, whether heavy or light. What matters is how you eat and what you eat. After all, calories are the factor that determine whether you'll gain weight or lose it more than anything else. One plausible reason why people may think that eating late is unhealthy is because the later we eat, the worse are the food choices that we tend to make. Plus, midnight snacking is usually quite junky in terms of food. Again, I attest to that. It is also adding an extra meal on top of the regular meals you've already had, therefore increasing the chances of overeating and then gaining weight. Now, a plausible reason why people tend to lose weight if they stop eating early in the day is that they don't eat as much as they would if they ate later in the day. In the evening. After all, 5 p.m. is usually our evening snack time and dinner is had later. This means that you have a slightly bit more of a substantial meal in the evening and have something super light at dinner. This could be an excellent tool to lose weight if it suits you, but that doesn't mean that this is gospel. If it doesn't suit your lifestyle, don't do it. But if you're looking to eat for health and weight loss, count your calories first and handle your techniques of controlling your calories later. Next claim is drink more water in the morning, less in the evening. Absolutely false. It doesn't make any sense, and there's no explanation for it either. Why would this work anyway? The only reason you shouldn't drink a lot of water before you go to bed would be because it would wake you up to go to the loo. Other than that, just drink when you're thirsty. This is just silly. Next claim, do not take a horizontal position immediately after a meal and use of drugs. What drugs are they talking about, man? But this is true. In some studies, it has been shown that sitting or lying down after eating can lead to slower digestion and maybe even acid reflux. for those who are suffering from GERD, GERD, or gastroesophageal reflux disease. If you have some gas going on because of your meal, staying upright could also let that out. You know, why fart and waste it when you can burp and taste it? As far as medicines are concerned, I can only give you my own anecdotal evidence, where I do get a bit of GERD after I take my meds and lie down, so maybe this has got something to it. Next claim, when the battery of your phone is almost dead, do not pick up the phone, as this radiation is 1,000 times stronger than with a charged battery. What sense does that make? But I looked it up. I could not find any information regarding this matter, so it seems they just made this out of whole cloth. They just made it out of thin air. Even if we assume it's correct, for the sake of argument, it doesn't really sound plausible. Why would radiation be stronger in a phone when the battery is almost dead? Also, there has been absolutely no evidence that cell phone radiation causes any harm of any sort. If that were the case, brain and genital cancers would be the most common causes of death on the planet, which they aren't. There's absolutely zero correlation between cancer and mobiles. But legend still exists for some reason. Now to wrap things up, there are a total of 39 claims made in this message. I haven't mentioned them all in this video because frankly some of them are really just pointless or repetitive. But you can see them all on the website. Link is in the description. So now let's have a tally of how many claims I found were true, false, or somewhere in the middle. 18 were absolutely false. 5 were true. 13 turned out to depend on the context of the claim to determine whether it was true or false. One was a duplicate, and that I didn't include. So what does all this mean? Most of these messages are wrong. Most of these claims are wrong. And the information presented in this message was without context when it was needed. Mixed in are a few true things. This is how many promoters of pseudoscience and fearmongers get to readers. Adding truth to lies makes the whole message feel more credible. Of course, that's only an illusion. It doesn't turn fact into fiction or fiction into fact. That is because covering bullshit with a thin layer of chocolate doesn't change the fact that it's still crap. Therefore, this message fails. It has the net effect of misleading and misinforming people about their health and well-being. If you see this message or anything like it, don't forward it. I would recommend that you would send it over to me instead. But there is one thing I agree with, as is suggested at the end of this message. I'm passing this on to those I love, which is you, with one major difference. I am showing you what it truly is. Next time you see a message trying to scare you about food, medicine, GMOs, cancer, or anything else, send it to me. Don't send it to your friends and family. I'll do the research for you, and then I'll let you know what it's about. So what do you think of the first ever forward fact check video? Let me know in the comments. Do you have any forwards you want me to fact check? Go to berationable.com and leave me a message. If you like this video, please give it a like, subscribe for more, and become a member to support this channel and everything it works towards. I've also got a Patreon at Rationable if you prefer to support me there. The link for that is in the description too. Until next time, thank you for watching and stay rational. See ya.